Welcome to My Body, My Bump, My Baby, where we help women be empowered, intentional mothers. This podcast is best enjoyed sipping tea or taking a stroll in nature. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be substituted for professional psychological or medical advice, diagnoses, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician, midwife, or other qualified health provider with any questions about your personal situation, health, or medical condition. Welcome to another episode of My Body, My Bump, My Baby. This is B, and today I want to talk to you about the importance of creating a birth plan and how to go about getting started. First, let me ask you, are you planning a hospital birth? Did you know that the hospital is basically serving up a one-size-fits-all birth experience? Honestly, that's not a problem, but each birth experience is unique. So if the one-size-fits-all birth that the hospital is planning for you doesn't align with what feels right or what you envisioned for you and your baby, then what do you do? Well, don't worry, because I'm here to tell you that the hospital has an entire secret menu of options for you to choose from. Yes, you heard me right. There's an entire set of options that no one's talking about. And you really just need to know what you want to order. So here's an example to start off. We all know this image of being in the hospital and having to wear one of those horrible hospital gowns. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? It's that they're like thin, they are the worst material ever, and they have these little strings in the back that only tie up around your neck and around your bra, and for whatever reason, the back end is just left wide open. The image that comes to mind for me is someone who is recovering from a serious illness, walking very weakly to the bathroom, pulling along an IV stand, wearing this thin gown that ties in the back and barely covers your bottom. For me, when I am thinking of a beautiful birth experience, it doesn't include me looking sick. I don't want to feel weak, and I'm definitely not planning to wear those cheesy hospital gowns. So picture this. You're determined to have this beautiful, empowering birth experience, and the first thing that happens to you when you arrive at the hospital is you're asked to remove your clothes. They hand you this thin gown that leaves you feeling exposed and say, "Here, change into this." And you begin to change. Many of us feel ourselves slipping into this meek, childlike state. You just kind of feel naked in it. And it's not just naked physically, but also you're starting to feel kind of naked emotionally. And your voice could become really soft. And for some people, their voice is completely lost. They lose their ability to be their own advocate. At that moment, you feel like you must do what you're told and you have to ask permission for everything. At that moment, your vision of this beautiful, empowered birth flies right out the door. So here's a secret menu option for you. That disempowering gown, it's not mandatory. There's no reason to wear the same gown as someone recovering from a serious illness in the hospital. Heck, you're not even sick. You're in your prime. You're creating a new life, and you will be birthing your baby with this magnificent, triumphant strength. So you actually have the option of wearing an outfit that you've chosen from home. Of course, you do want to think about the logistics of that outfit. First, This is an outfit specifically selected for birth. So as you choose this outfit, be sure to remember birth can be messy. It's kind of juicy, and some of those juices stain. So you might only be wearing that outfit one time. So with that said, don't spend a lot of money on it. Another thing to consider is your provider and the nurse staff will need access to your belly periodically during labor to get fetal heart tones and your vagina as your baby is being born. By the way, there are dresses specifically made for this. Yes, Google it. Finally, choose something that is comfortable to wear. It should be loose and flowing. During labor, it's not likely that you're going to feel good in anything that's tight or grabbing or pinching at your body. So when you arrive at the hospital wearing the outfit that you've chosen for this special day, and you're asked to change into that horrible hospital gown, you can politely let them know that you prefer to wear your own clothes. Simple as that. Knowing the secret menu options are helpful in creating that calm, beautiful experience that you envision. Sometimes the options are big decisions, but some are simple options that make a big difference in how comfortably you labor. There are some people that feel very at home in the hospital, but other people feel like it's a very uncomfortable and unfamiliar place. And then some people just simply hate it. Those feelings can lead us into a state of fight or flight, and that's never a good thing for somebody who is in labor. Fight or flight hormones slow labor, and it makes it more difficult to cope and manage surges. So if you happen to be a person who isn't feeling right at home in the hospital, here is another secret menu option that will help you labor. Once you're admitted to the hospital room, your partner can make the space a little bit more comfortable by dimming the lights and closing the window shades and maybe spraying a little lovely essential oil spray on the curtains and the linens. I would also recommend adding a little calming music. So these simple things can make a huge difference in your labor. Changing the setting of the stale hospital room to a dim, calm birthing space will not only benefit how you labor, but the nurses will notice as soon as they walk in that this is not just another birth, but a very special experience for you and your family. The lovely smell of the essential oils will slow them down and remind them to whisper to help not overwhelm you while you labor. This is such a minor change, but this minor change can make a big impact on how well you cope in labor and how long it takes the labor to unfold. And I know you're wondering, am I allowed to do that? Yeah, you are. Secret menu option 2. You can change the ambiance in your room. So here are a few things you can do to learn more about those hospital secret menu options. One way would be to hire a doula. Be sure to subscribe because an episode on how to hire a doula is in the works and I don't want you to miss it. Another way might be to take a good independent childbirth class. Oftentimes, an independent childbirth class will outline many of the hospital's secret menu options, plus educate you on some standard care practices that you will need to understand prior to making any decisions for you or your baby while you're staying in the hospital. Another way to learn about the hospital's secret menu options is to do your research and create a birth plan. So a birth plan is a simple one-page document for you and a one-page document for your baby that allows you to communicate to your hospital team the kind of birth experience that you're hoping for. Now, it's really important for me to be clear here. Labor cannot be planned. It turns out that there's a lot of variables and a lot of different elements that unfold in labor, and it often doesn't actually go the way we plan at all. So now you're wondering, why the heck am I going to create a birth plan then? It's just going to leave me being disappointed. Well, the major value of a birth plan comes in the process of creating it. So first, it allows you to gain an understanding of the process of birth in a hospital. The process is what I'm referring to as the one-size-fits-all birth. And it's a standard set of guidelines, policies, processes, and interventions that the hospital team follows. Some of the policies and procedures are dictated by national agencies, such as American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, also known as ACOG. Others are mandated by the state and the hospital itself. So some of these policies and procedures are in place for your safety and were created based on supporting scientific data. Let's get a clap. Some are in place not based on scientific data, mainly because you really can't do scientific studies on pregnant people or newborns. It's just not allowed most of the time. But instead, some of the policies are made by the professionals who are most knowledgeable in that area, such as ACOG or the American Academy of Pediatrics, aka AAP. And some of these policies and procedures have little to do with the health and safety of you and your baby and have more to do with the business, financials, and liabilities of the hospital itself. Yes. The last one could be a shocker or a surprise, but honestly, it's just the reality of birthing in a hospital in the U.S. They are for-profit businesses, after all. The process of creating a birth plan also acts as an educational tool. It will help you to uncover any of those I don't know what I don't know kind of landmines. So the process helps you to learn about the one-size-fits-all options, but you should also learn the whys. Like, okay, why is that an option that's being provided to me? You should learn the risks and the benefit of those options, and also if there are any alternatives, aka secret menu options that might fit you and your family a little bit better. This is helpful when your vision of your labor has to change for unforeseen circumstances, which, like I mentioned earlier, is kind of common in birth. With all this knowledge in your back pocket, you and your partner can make a well-informed decision in the moment without feeling overwhelmed or without having to defer the decision to a stranger because they know more about that particular topic. They may know more about that topic, but they don't know more about you and about what you and your family needs. You know, the number one thing my clients tell me at Enso is that they want to feel heard, they want to feel in control, and they want their experience to be calm. So going through this process of creating a birth plan really helps us to achieve those three things. Third, the process of creating a birth plan is a great way to foster communication between you and your partner and whoever else might be on your birth team. So that could include a family member, a sister, a mom-in-law, your doula. When we go through this process in our childbirth classes at Enso, I often have a pregnant person come to me and express their appreciation for the process because they learned that their partner had some concerns about something that they probably wouldn't have been aware of prior. So this process helps us to become a team in planning the birth of the baby rather than leaving it to one person or the other. And that in and of itself can make that relationship that much stronger and increase the depth of our relationship. Hey, I offer an online, on-demand class called Create Your Birth Plan, and it's packed full of information, including those secret menu options I keep talking about. Check it out at ensomama.com, on-demand classes, and I'll also include an easy-to-follow link in the show notes. All right. So when you're creating a birth plan, I would allow 2 to 4 weeks to go through the process. There's a lot to learn and understand. And quite honestly, if you're feeling rushed, it's going to become overwhelming, especially with all of the other prep that you're working on to welcome your baby. Once you've learned all about the secret menu options, you and your partner have had a lot of really great discussions and everybody understands your family's whys, it's time to put it all down in writing. And I know that sounds super old school, but I highly recommend typing it up and printing several copies. This allows your hospital team to keep a copy of your preferences and wishes in your medical file for whoever might be attending you on your baby's birthday. Then, when you schedule your next OB appointment, let the front desk know that you would like to schedule a little extra time with your OB just to go over your birth plan preferences. This is an important appointment, and I highly recommend that you bring your partner or a friend or a family member to attend that appointment with you. It's just always better to have a support system with you when you're trying to express why you have chose various things. And it's also nice to have like a second set of ears to hear inputs and requests from your provider. Besides going through the process of creating a birth plan, I feel like this allows us to start to envision the upcoming birth of our baby. So another thing you might consider adding is listening to beautiful birth stories. We have a bunch on this podcast. I think there's probably other podcasts out there where women are telling their beautiful birth stories. Also, you can check out a book by Ina May Gaskin. It's called Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. That entire book is fantastic, but the second half of the book has a bunch of beautiful birth stories. I feel like the more we expose ourselves to beautiful birth stories, the easier it is to begin to envision all of the beautiful possibilities for our own birth story. After all, historically, women would come to understand and know birth not through books, not through podcasts, not through childbirth classes, but by attending lots of births. And they started when they were very young. Some would be tricky births and many would be amazing, so that when it was time for that young woman to have her turn and birth her baby, she already had a bunch of good stories to pick and choose from and to begin to weave the beautiful bits in her mind so that she could assemble her own vision for her labor. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you are new to our podcast, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you are notified whenever we release a new episode. Also, I would love to hear from you. Please send your comments or topic requests to ensomama@gmail.com. It's ensomama@gmail.com. Remember, your journey to motherhood is as unique as you are. Embrace each step with strength, love, and the confidence that you're creating something truly miraculous. Until next time, take care of your body, nurture your bump, and cherish every moment with your baby to be.